Kid, after a hard night of drinking, I just like to watch Godfather TV.
Hi, I'm Dottie.
And I'm Julie.
And you're watching Godfather TV with Jeff and Chuck.
Watching Godfather TV, the unofficial sponsor of 49ers football.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Michael Rose of Back in Time, and you are going to hear the fake news. But remember, watch Godfather TV.
And how had I danced the children of Stonehenge at the great feast of the Dark Prince.
Fuck
And
off.
he and the princess lived happily ever after. And then some.
Welcome to Godfather TV with our host, Jeff Dennis, Charles Encinas, Al Mead.
Tonight's guest, Darren Caperna.
Did you just cut me off? You bloody cut me off, didn't you?
All right, what is up, DFW? Welcome back to Godfather TV. Today's going to be a great day. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to my boys Archon from Oklahoma City, the Papadopoulos brothers. I love you guys. And today this is going to be our first tribute episode with one of the best singers, if not the best tribute singer to AC/DC.
You're going to make me blush.
I'm going to. But anyway, one more thing. We want to thank Al Mead back here on production duties. Thank you, Al. We love you, man. And once again, as usual, I want to introduce the Godfather himself, Jeff Dennis.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. We've got a special show for you now, like you said. We've got Darren Caperna here from Back in Black. The legendary Back in Black. I guarantee every one of you has seen at least one show by them in your lifetime. And if you haven't, then you're missing out. Also want to thank Walter Webb for the intro. Thank you very much. And let's get started here. Darren, before we jump into the fame and fortune of Back in Black, let's go back to your beginnings. What led you to be in a tribute band, or were you in other bands, or what led you to be a singer? Or give us some of your history.
Me and Mike Mraz, the guy that does Angus and Back in Black, we were in a band in California, out in LA, back in 1990, 1991. And that was the hardest gig to have, because in LA, especially back in those days, only the bands that had their friends come would get anybody at the shows. Everybody was just fighting against everybody to be the best person, have the biggest crowd. You would have to sell your own tickets, and you'd have to bring people in, and they actually even told their friends, if we were playing with another band, you don't applaud for those guys or clap for them. Don't even pay attention to them. When we go on, you pay attention to us. This way, the owner would see that, and they'd get hired again. So we were doing that for a while, and one day we were like, well, when we do an encore, let's do it. I can do like AC/DC voice, so let's throw in an AC/DC song. So at the end of the night, we would be playing all our songs, and only our friends would be applauding, people by the bar and stuff, not paying attention. And at the end of the night, we'd kick in all of a sudden to a AC/DC song. And then you saw this, it never failed. Every time we did it, people at the bar would be like this. Wait, what? What? And they'd be like, and then all of a sudden, we'd have just people coming up, and we were like, wow, this is friggin' awesome. But we were very into the original stuff then. We were young, and we were going to be big original rock stars, so we decided, we're going to stick with the original stuff. So, big earthquake, Northridge earthquake. I was out there for that. Our drummer at the time, Johnny Rogers, his house got hit hard, and his whole house just started shaking, things falling. He couldn't get to his baby, newborn baby. The kid's okay, but it freaked him out so bad because all the furniture was in front. He was flipping out. He moved. So we tried other drummers. We tried to get it going again, but then we lost another member because of a job. And so eventually, after a few years, just broke up.
What was the name of that band?
It was Doc Tonic.
Doc Tonic.
Actually, there might be some stuff on YouTube. Don't make fun of what I'm wearing. Might be stuff on YouTube.
Did you wear a doctor's outfit?
No, I didn't wear a doctor's outfit, but I went...
Parachute pants?
It was the 90s, dude. I didn't know what to wear. I mean, one time I had on shorts, like workout spandex, and a leather jacket. I have no idea what was going on back then.
Axl Rose, man.
I had no idea what was going on back then. Yeah, it was just many different things. Flannel shirt, it was So,
Oh, cool.
but so everybody broke up. The whole band broke up, and everybody went their separate ways. I went back to New York, where I'm originally from. Mike stayed in California. So years pass now. Years pass.
Well, real quick, before you go into that, so is it true, because I've heard from a lot of my friends and stuff, do you really have to pay to play in those clubs back then?
Back then, yeah.
In LA?
Back then, at an FM station, you would buy the tickets from the venue that you were playing at. I don't know if it was all venues, but the ones we played at, you
Right.
would buy the tickets at a discounted thing, and then you'd sell them for 50% more than you bought them for. And that's how you made money, and if you didn't sell tickets, you didn't make any money.
Gotcha.
So we made no freaking money at all doing this thing.
Right.
And, I was doing, I used to do stunt work, and I'm in the Screen Actors Guild still, but I haven't done stunt work since the 90s, but that's how I offset my income, was by doing the stunts and stuff like that.
Right.
And that died out for me after a while.
Anything really cool that we might have seen? Or if you could
I've been
say?
in Con Air, True Lies, Demolition Man, a bunch of other low-budget movies, and The Siege with Denzel
Nice.
Washington. So you look me up, I'm on IMDb. You can look me up, and I did all
Nice.
that. And I got to shout out to my cousin Steve Pacerni, who brought me into the business and trained me. So shout out to you, Steve.
Nice.
Way to go,
if you're
Steve.
watching. Yeah, he is, my whole family, Steve Pacerni, Charlie Pacerni, and Charles Pacerni, they are the best stuntmen that ever lived. I mean, back in the day, Charlie did Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2, Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2. He was the second unit director and directed all the stunt
Those guys
scenes.
aren't going to be anything unless they worked for Burt Reynolds. Have any of them worked for Burt Reynolds?
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, he was posting pictures of himself, Charlie, the dad.
Gotcha.
I call him my uncle, he's really my cousin because he was
Gotcha.
older than me. And he just posted a picture of him working with Burt Reynolds.
Like on Hooper.
Him and
Hooper,
Burt
right?
Reynolds.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if he was on Hooper. But anyway, that died down too, so I flew back to New York and just bumming around.
Right.
And years and years passed by. And in 2000, I got a call, and this very happy guy is like, "Hey, Darren, it's me. You remember we were talking about doing a tribute band, and you always wanted to do a tribute band to make some money? I live in Texas now, and why don't you come out? I want to do an AC/DC tribute band. Why don't you come out?" And I went, "Who the hell is this?" And it was Mike.
That's the best impersonation of Maz I've ever seen.
Now to explain to you about Mike Mraz. Mike Mraz is the nicest guy in the world, and he doesn't curse properly. I remember we were in the car one time, and it was me and Mike Wagner. He was our original rhythm guitarist before Ramiro came in, and we were all sitting in the car. And Jay Benzie, remember Jay, our original drummer?
I love you, Jay.
And we're at a red light, and we got hit from behind. Boom! And we're all like, oh, fuck! Oh, Jesus, God! And we're all, fuck! And Mike goes, gosh darn it! What the heck? So that's
Dag
how Mike
nabbit.
is. Yeah. So he's nicest guy in the world, nicest guy in the world. Although now that he's getting older, he's cursing at people.
Is he?
So every once in a while, we'll throw it out.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
So he said, "It's me, Mike." I said, "Mike Mraz?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I haven't heard from you in years." So he said, "Dude, why don't you come out to Texas? I want to do this tribute thing. It's just going to be for fun on the weekends, maybe 1 or 2 shows a month. I'll fly you out to do the shows." So me being a professional musician and a successful musician, I was broke and unemployed, so I was like, it's a free place to live every now and then. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So that's how it started, and we started rehearsing at Universal.
Rehearsal?
Universal Rehearsal, yeah.
The one on Markville or the one in Garland?
Oh, God, I don't know. I was drunk. As a matter of fact, in our documentary, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes, we got to talk about
At the
that.
very beginning of that documentary, Mike, I don't know where he got it, but he had an old VHS of our first rehearsal. I didn't realize how drunk I was. Oh my God, I was trashed. So I don't drink anymore, but back in those days, yes,
We're going to talk about that too.
I had a little bit of a drinking.
Not you, Darren.
Yeah, a little bit. Don't remember whole shows.
Yeah. Well, I remember getting free beer because you wouldn't finish your beer.
I always finish my beer. That is a lie from the
No.
pit of hell.
Just so you guys know, I used to work for Back in Black, probably 2002, 2003. And every show, Darren would come up with 2 buckets of Miller Lite. That was Darren's
Coors
beer.
Light.
Well, it was Miller Lite. I remember Miller Lite. but
It was Coors Light.
Okay,
It was
Coors Light then. So during the show, Darren would take them out and he'd drink them. But after he was done, he'd leave. He'd freaking get off the stage and he'd go be a rock star, you know. So Chuck, you know, have to break down the drums and shit. There's free beer there, so I never had to pay for beer.
Did not know that. Did not know that.
I used to take Darren's
Maybe
beer.
somebody bought a bucket you didn't know, and it was, you never saw it,
No,
so he
but,
drank it.
Yeah, I used to
Because
drink,
he
I
was
used to drink Darren's beer.
Well, I never counted them. I never looked and said,
Yeah.
do I have any left here? I don't know. Because there was always more backstage. So.
There's
Those are
always
empty.
more
Those are
backstage, and so I drink Darren's beer and I drink Jay's beer.
Yes, well, yeah, and Jay was also Jack and Coke.
Right,
That was
Jack and
Jay's
Coke
favorite
beer.
drink,
Yep,
yes.
yep. But
So
anyway,
was it an instant hit right off the bat, whereas the tribute thing really wasn't going on then? Was it something that took a little while to catch on?
Oh, it was horrible.
Or was it just?
It was horrible in the beginning. No tribute bands in Dallas at the time. Now
Right.
there's like, what, 4,006? Yeah. I mean, literally, there's tribute bands everywhere. But back then, there was no, the only tribute bands back then were Hard Night Stay. And Reiner from The Ticket had a ZZ Top tribute that
Well,
he would
there's-
play out as for fun every once in a
I
while.
think there was the Bricks in the Wall was around, I think, too.
I don't-
Around the same time you guys were.
It might have been, I don't
Yeah.
remember. I don't remember. I just knew those two.
Yeah.
So Bricks in the Wall probably, so three. And nobody wanted to hire tribute bands. Definitely not the House of Blues.
Right.
Yeah, so we're, you know, Mike was making us rehearse, and Mike's like a math genius.
Right.
So I was like, dude, we want to play out. We want to play out. We're rehearsing for months and months and months. And he's like, well, right now we're at 78%. We need to get at least 98% to work. I'm like, come on. So finally me and Jay got pissed off and we said, we're going to find a gig. So we go down to Deep Ellum and there's this place called The Rock. Remember The Rock?
I saw you guys there.
Oh my God. So I forget the guy's name. Do you remember his name? Louis from The Rock. Louis came out and he said, we got, I think maybe we made $20 each.
Yep.
If that. And we got there, nobody came. Nobody showed up. We had about 5 people in the audience. And we got on stage and actually in the documentary, you'll see some footage from that. Once again, didn't know what the hell I was wearing at the time. Just, I didn't have the look down yet.
Right.
And drunk off my ass, and we just didn't do that great. And nobody paid attention to us. Louis was so mad that nobody showed up that he didn't want to pay us.
Oh, shoots.
And Mike went home that night, he told me afterwards, he said, that's it, I'm done with this, I'm not doing this anymore. And it almost ended right there.
Wow.
So it almost ended right there. And it took quite some time before we started getting a name for ourselves, and I'll tell you that story in a minute.
I remember, I don't know, it was the remaster, I don't know, was it Back in Black or whatever, but you guys played at the Virgin Record Store.
Yes.
On 75.
Yes, Sony, I believe it was Sony Music hired us to,
Was it Back in Black that they remastered or something like that?
all the CDs.
All the CDs.
They bought all the CDs and it was all remastered and.
Anyways, what I was gonna say is, I know I was there for kind of the beginnings of Back in Black. They were advertising the first 100 people in the door get free chicken wings.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
No, I do not.
At that show.
Once again, drinking days.
Yeah, they were giving away chicken wings to go watch these guys, you know, but, like Darren's gonna tell you, that it exploded from there, man, so, you know.
Well, that thing about the
Yeah.
Virgin Records, but you may not remember this, but to us, you know, it was a Virgin Record store, Sony Records
Right.
hired us, didn't get paid crap.
Chicken wings.
But it was notoriety, you know, it was a good, it was good advertisement for us. So we were all excited about this. This was probably our biggest show we've had at the time with notoriety anyway. So I flew in from New York and I get to the house and Mike comes out on crutches.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Broke his, I believe it was his ankle. He plays,
no.
Mike likes to play hockey and he got hit with a slap shot and broke his ankle and I said, you're fucking kidding. And he went, nope. So I wish there was video of it because it's the most hysterical thing. Mike's on one crutch and then he got the guitar on and he's
Yep,
playing
he's
and trying to
coming
hop
around.
and he's doing it.
He's
and
doing
he's
it.
doing it.
Yeah.
But that was that experience with Virgin Records. So that was fun.
That was a fun show, man.
actually turned out okay.
It
so,
did,
yeah.
it did. But you guys, you know what, I've never seen, maybe that first one, and I wasn't there for the first one, but I've never seen a bad Back in Black show. You know?
I know we've had them, I just don't remember them because
Well,
it's because of me usually,
And the
because of
thing
my
ab-
drinking.
Well, the only thing about that, even Darren and you know this, the only people that would notice that is probably you and maybe other musicians. But to the casual listener and people who just love AC/DC, they're not gonna know if you had a bad show or not.
I appreciate that, but I remember so many mornings I woke up and I was like, how did I do last night?
I remember one time,
Did I make an idiot out of myself? What did I do?
this was, I think your daughter Christina was living with you guys at the time. And I remember me and Darren talked, we were both drunk the night before, and we're gonna put together this cover band. We're gonna put together this cover band, and we listed like 40 songs. Well, I went home that night, and I put all 40 songs off a CD onto a cassette, or maybe it was a CD. And just to tell you, Darren don't remember, right? I showed up at his door Sunday morning, like at freaking 10 o'clock in the morning. Bam, 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 bam. And he goes, Chuck, what the hell, what the fuck are you doing here? And I go, dude, here's your CD. You said you want me to do this. He's all, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's all, don't ever knock at my door.
We play tomorrow.
This early again, right? He goes, never knock at my door this early again after a gig. Click.
Nice.
Yeah, I just don't remember these things. I was pretty bad.
Those were the days, man.
First time I saw Back in Black was opening for Cheap Trick in Fort Worth for the Bone, I guess. The
Bone Bash.
Bone Bash.
Bone Bash, yep.
That was
And I
probably like
remember
the
I was-
second one you did, right?
I parked the car and I heard the bell go off for Hell's Bells right at the start. I was like, oh shit, we got to go. They already started.
I think that was the third one we did. I think the first one was
Paul
with-
Rogers, right?
No, I think the first one was, and we didn't open for them. It was, I think it was Deep Purple.
Was it Deep
It was
Purple?
either Deep Purple or Foghat. I gotta look back at it.
'Cause I remember
But we were like maybe the second band, and there was two more, and then them. That's how we started it.
Well, the one that I
That's how we
remember,
started it.
that I teched for you guys, I remember it was Paul Rogers, and you guys were main support for that.
That was the big, that was
Yeah.
our first big one, yeah.
And I remember Jay goes, go sound check my drums. And I'd never been in front of a crowd that big before, and I'm out there sound checking the drums, and there's like 10,000 people looking at you. He's hitting the drum. Dude, I was so nervous, man.
26,000.
26,000.
Wow.
So, yeah, I can honestly say I played the drums, technically played the drums in front of 26,000 people.
There you go.
Yeah. And
Thanks,
that was,
Darren.
That was our, and once again, you know, a lot of bands, you know, back then still,
Mm-hmm.
tribute scene wasn't big, and all these shows that we did, everybody's like, oh my gosh, man, we didn't get paid a dime.
You didn't get paid for that show?
We didn't get paid
Wow.
a dime. It was for being on the radio, all that free advertising. That's what we did it for back then. It wasn't like now that, oh, we work, we deserve to get paid. Back then, it was like, thank God, you know, we have a way to play in front of thousands of people, and that propelled us because the Bone started talking to us. So on that show, we had let's call it a miscommunication with Paul Rogers
I
and
remember
his
that.
people because,
He didn't want to come out of the bus.
well, no, what
I
happened?
remember that. He would, I'm not coming out of the bus.
What-
There was something going down.
What happened was, we don't know what happened, but when we got there, and like I said, nothing against Paul Roger or anything, I don't know if it was his people or whatever happened, but we were so excited. This was our first really big show. We knew there was going to be over 20,000 people there.
Wow.
So we hired a bunch of video guys. We had
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 cameras. We were going to do this professionally and have like a movie all set up. And, you know, we had to put a $1,000 non-refundable deposit down. So the cameras are set up, and we're all excited, you know, we're talking about it for weeks. And then either Paul Rogers or one of his people came out and he asked, you know, for the soundtrack, what are these cameras doing here? And they said, oh, the band opening for you is going to, you know, record the show. And he's like, no, they're not. He said, if these cameras aren't gone, by the time I get back, I'm not going to perform.
Yeah, that's what it was. I remember
We
that.
had to send all the cameras home. We lost $1,000. So that show actually cost us $1,000.
Did you
And-
get to film yourself at least, or no?
There is video of it, but from people in the audience.
Oh, you didn't get to
Probably the
use
radio
your-
station.
Seemed like you could use your cameras and then take them down before.
No,
Paul
it was their
Rogers.
cameras. It was a professional crew. And then I'm all upset, and I was so pissed off about it because it was like really bumming me out. I said, you know what, I'm going to calm down. So backstage was basically the parking lot. So I'm standing by the car, smoking a cigarette, and somebody comes up to me, one of the security guys, and says, yeah, Paul Rogers doesn't allow smoking backstage. I was like,
We're outside.
I'm technically behind the stage, but I'm sitting by the car smoking a cigarette. You got to put that out. So now I'm getting really pissed because it's like,
That's twice now.
what
yeah.
the fuck? It's like, oh my God, so all right, fine. So and the poor guy from The Bone, the producer, he's actually talking about this in the documentary. He comes up to me and says, Darren, but please, just calm down. He says, everything's going to be all right. We'll figure something out. And just please, you know, Paul Rogers doesn't allow smoking or drinking on the stage. You know, he doesn't allow it.
Damn.
So during the sound check, I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette with a beer, and I walk on the stage with a cigarette and a beer, and I said, guys, no smoking and drinking on the stage, all right? I'm serious about this. And so the producer of The Bone is like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So now it's showtime. And I figured, showtime. Now at the time, like I said, now I don't drink anymore, but at the time, I needed my beer. I could not perform without my beer on the stage. So I'm walking up with my case of beer. And security stops me, and they say, you can't bring it on stage. There's no, Paul Rogers doesn't allow any beer on his stage. And I was like, and once again, I don't know if it was Paul Rogers. Paul Rogers probably had no idea this was going on.
Maybe, yeah.
I had no idea this was going on, because he wasn't even there.
But I do have a story for you that might validate what you're saying.
Yeah, so I walk up, and the guy's like, you can't go on there. So now I'm pissed. Can't bring beer on stage, can't smoke, lost $1,000. I'm friggin' livid right now. And we had a lot of police officers that were fans of the band, so this police officer came up to me and said, what's wrong, man? And I told him, he said, give me the case. So he grabs the case, and he gets in front of me, and he walks up on the stage. And the security guy went like this, and this cop looked at him and went, really? and the guy went, so I got my beer on the stage.
Right.
And we did the show. Now we're into the show, we're all excited, the crowd's going friggin' nuts. 20-something thousand.
Where was this at?
This was at the railroad train yard?
Yeah, the rail yard.
The rail yard, down in Fort Worth, I guess it
Fort
was,
Worth,
yeah. So the crowd's going nuts, and I don't know what happened, but for some reason, Paul Rogers people wanted us to cut the show short.
Yep. I remember.
And I
It was
don't know,
like
I don't know
25
why.
minutes or something.
Yeah, and so there's video of this, which I didn't know there was. So there's video of me, and the producer of The Bone, he was like, he talks about it, he's like, oh, he just threw us under the bus. Because I said, hey guys, you want to hear more Back in Black, right? And over 20,000 people just roar, and this is all on the video, and they just roar. And I was like, well, you know, Paul Rogers is anxious to get out, so they're cutting us off early. But I bet if you guys start chanting Back in Black when we're done with our song, they might have to let us play a couple of more songs. So, and they started chanting Back in Black. I said, no, wait till after the song. When the song's over, you'll Back in Black. And sure enough, they did.
I remember that.
They started chanting Back in Black, and poor Jeff Kay, he was the main DJ then.
Yeah, I know.
He came up on the stage because the people were booing and chanting Back in Black, and Jeff Kay comes up on the stage, and he's like, hey, you know what, they did a great job, you know, but, you know, we got to start then, you know, Paul Rogers come out, and they started booing, and Jeff came to me afterwards, he went, wow, thanks for that.
Right?
Hey.
You didn't get paid, so what the hell?
Yeah.
Right? But going back to the Paul Rogers thing, this might validate your whole thing about if he knew or not. I have another friend that played in a recording, a national recording. Do you remember Tonto? Have you ever heard of them? Back in the, I think it was the 80s. Guy Gustafson, he's the bass player for Blizzard of Oz.
Oh, okay.
He used to be in a band called Tonto. Well, on their debut record, they got an opening slot with Paul Rogers. And for one gig, they were up in Canada, I think, or something like that, on the tour bus. Well, what happened is it was Paul Rogers' birthday one night for one gig, so the singer for Tonto, he gave Paul a shout out. He said, tonight's Paul Rogers' birthday. So he started kind of mocking his voice and singing, I don't know what song it was, just Happy Birthday, Paul. Well, after that show, Paul Rogers comes into the dressing room and fires the band on the spot and kicked them off the tour.
Wow.
So they're,
well, yeah, that's a little different. He probably, you know.
but come on, if you didn't think he knew about it, that to me.
I don't know if you knew about it, dude.
Validates it.
He's Paul
to
Rogers,
me.
Great
Right.
singer, love Bad Company. I love
One
you.
of my top
Love you,
five.
Paul. Love you, Paul.
One of my
and
top five.
like I said, you probably didn't even know about any of this. And we just did a show not too long ago where we did the after show after he performed
Right.
at what was it? Gillies at the Chuck's
Yeah.
Casino. And we were in there when he was performing. He let us come in and watch the show. And he was like, great band, Back in Black's coming out. So, you know, this was so many years ago.
One thing I have to have Darren
So,
tell us.
I don't want to talk crap because I don't know. But
No,
that's,
not talk crap.
I'm just saying what happened that particular
We
day.
love you, Paul Rogers.
Yes.
We love you.
Yes, we do.
But there's one
And he's
story.
also a third-degree black belt in karate.
Oh, it's okay. I know karate and about 10 other Chinese words, so we're good. But there's one story I want Darren to tell, because this has always been funny. When you guys played with Jackal and Loverboy, and then all of you came out and sang what You Shook Me All Night Long. or
Highway
what was
Now.
it? Highway Now. You gotta do
All right,
that.
so. What, Mike
When
Reno?
Jesse, yeah, well, no, wasn't it Jesse James that was like kind of singing over you and?
Oh, well, that was a whole story there. That's actually how I met my wife, Beverly.
Yeah.
Was because of that show. She came to see Loverboy.
Right.
Wasn't an AC/DC fan, had no idea who we were. And she came to see Loverboy, and I came outside, and that's how we met.
That's how you met,
and to
right?
this day, when Loverboy comes to town, I tell security, I said, tell Mike Reno the reason I'm married here. and he lets us backstage and stuff. He's the nicest guy in the world.
Except last month when they canceled because of COVID or whatever, they didn't come.
No, it was too hot, wasn't it? That's what
No,
they
they
said.
didn't,
Oh,
they were sick, somebody was sick, they canceled.
Well, let me tell you,
But tell him the story
But
about
Mike
it.
Reno, nicest guy in the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the whole band, all of Love Bite, nicest people. So anyway, so is Jackal, by the way.
Okay.
Jesse James and everything.
Yeah.
So we, it was for the White Trash Party. So it was Russ Martin, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
It was for Russ Martin, who was a great friend of ours and helped us out a lot.
Right.
He brought us to the White Trash Party, and we opened for Jackal and Loverboy. So now he wants us all on stage. Russ said, I want you all out there singing Highway to Hell. You, Jesse, and Mike. So we get on the stage. And we start singing Highway to Hell. Then it's Jesse's part, and Jesse just has a powerful voice, and he's like, I can't even hear myself. Because Jesse's like just belting it out. He's like, Highway to Hell! And I'm like, oh, I can't fucking hear myself. And then I get a tap on my shoulder because it's you know, Mike Reno now is about to do his part. And Mike Reno says, I don't know the words, feed me the words, feed me the words. So I'm like, no stop sign. He's like, no stop sign, speed limit, speed limit. So I'm like right by him, just rocking out and just saying it real quick. And so that's how we got through. That's how we got through Highway to Hell.
But Jesse James, that's so badass.
But what's he wearing his headband? Was Mike Reno wearing his headband? That's the whole.
I don't remember. I don't remember. But we've played with those guys a few times, and they're just the nicest guys in the world. They always sound great. Mike always sounds great.
That's good to hear.
But now the next Bone Bash was with Cheap Trick.
I saw that one.
And we just played with them again recently, and they remembered, and they're great guys. We had no problems on that show. I got called into the office, and the Bone guy, the producer, he said, Darren, please. He says, please. I am responsible for you. And they said to me, and he talks about this in the documentary, he said, and I told them, don't worry, because the fans wanted us. They did a vote overwhelmingly, they wanted us there, and they needed us to open, and you know, some of the higher ups didn't want, because what happened last time, and they said, no, we have to, I'll control Darren. And if you watch the documentary that we're gonna talk about, he says, yeah, I said I'm gonna watch Darren. I can't control Darren. And I was like, I didn't know why I said that, but thank God everything worked out, and you know, things started picking up now for Back in Black. We started getting notoriety. The Bones started talking about us. Russ Martin got wind of us, and he had us on his show. We started doing white trash parties. So things are building up and building up. We're getting more people. And we get to the point where we got nominated for Best Tribute Band in Dallas. Now, this might have happened before the Bone Bash or after, I don't remember, probably sometime in the middle. We still, you know, so it was probably before because we weren't really that well known yet. We were still very young at the time. So I kind of skipped over this part. This is when we first started getting our name out there. This is how the Bone found out about us and how all these people found out about us. So they had the Observer Awards.
Right.
So Back in Black's nominated for the Tribute Award. I'm from New York. I know nothing about Observer. At the time, I knew nothing about it. I just flew out for shows, and I was just excited and free tequila.
All right.
So I'm like on my 11th shot of tequila. So this guy named Reiner, who apparently is big guy on the ticket. He's like the Howard Stern of sports on the ticket, which I didn't know who he was. I'm just sitting there having a good old time drinking. I'm like, this is going to be great. You know, nobody really knows us yet. So this is before Bone Bash, before everything. No one really knows us yet. And we're going to get an Observer. And, you know, probably not going to win. Hard Night Stay's probably going to win because they've been around like way longer than us. We've only been around like less than a year. So Reiner gets the thing and says, now for the Best Tribute Band in Dallas. And the nominees are Back in Black. They suck. And I went, what the fuck did he just say?
Oh, really?
And Jay Benzie, our original drummer, is like, what did he just say? Very heavy Texas accent. Did he just say we suck?
Did he just say that?
And I charged the stage. And I hear Jay behind me going, all right, Darren, keep trying to calm me down. Darren, don't, oh shit. And he sees me charge on the stage, and Jay's following right behind me. And I get to the stage, and Brian is talking, and I went, hey! And pardon my cursing here, but it's...
The New York came out.
It would be more, it wouldn't be as effective if I said, so I said the F word. I said, hey, who the fuck are you? And he said, I'm Reiner from the ticket, and it's like, yeah, well, I don't really give a fuck. I said, have you ever heard us? I'm from Back in Black. Have you ever heard us play before? Have you ever seen us? Have you ever been to our show? He was like, no. Well, you just stood up there and said we suck. What are you basing that on? And he's like, I was just trying to be funny. I said, well, you're not. I said, I got fucking promoters here, places we want to play at that I've been introducing myself to, and now you just said we suck. I said, this is something I'm trying to get a career out of here. And I said, he's like, I'm sorry, and I'm cursing, I'm scared. So they finally grabbed me and pulled me away. And I found out, I found out later, and this was all at the Curtain Club, or the Gypsy Tea Room, Gypsy Tea Room. And so Rhino leaves. I found out later that he left with security because he was afraid I was waiting for him. He thought I was gonna go after him. But we're cool now. By the way, me and Rhino are great now. We love each other now. So now I'm just drunk and pissed, and they're trying to calm me down. So one of the PAs comes up and she's like, all right, guys, calm down. And her idea to calm me down was to give me more tequila. So I gave me another tray of tequila. So now I'm getting drunker, and I'm getting louder. And so a security guy put his hand on my shoulder or something and said, you need to calm down. So I was like, get off of me. And I spun around to kick him, and I missed him. And I put my foot right through the wall of Scott Beggs, who ran Gypsy Tea Room, right through the wall into his office.
Oh!
And once again, remember the story about Mike? Really nice guy, doesn't curse. Mike went, okay, guys, get everyone together. It's time to go. We have to get Darren out of here. Let's go. So we left.
Oh, man.
So we left. And
nice.
And that's how we got to, he was friends with our drummer, thank God, Scott Beggs. So he was like, don't worry about it. He's like, but that's how we got into Trees. That's how we got notoriety. And what Ryan didn't realize, what he did for us was, on the ticket, every day for weeks, he was talking about it. And he was, this crazy singer from Back in Black, put a hole through all of Gypsy Tea Room, and then he had some guy impersonating me on there. Yeah, you ruined my band, now I work in Foley's. Some guy with a very bad New York accent on there. And so all that was free advertisement. So it did the exact opposite effect. Then we went to Trees, and we had a full house at Trees. The first time we didn't, but the second time after this happened, we did, because people were like,
right?
We gotta check this guy out.
I think you guys did
through the wall.
2 Thursday nights at Trees. I remember the second one. The second one, you couldn't even get in. That's how packed it was, I remember.
Yeah,
Thursday night. It was,
and that's how
it started, man.
And that's how it started. And then the Bone picked us up, and then Russ Martin, and it went from. And I remember telling Mike, because when we first started this, Mike had his full-time job, and he's making good money, and he was married at the time, and I told him, we just played at these little dingy clubs, making nothing, and he's like, Darren, I was like, one day, Mike, we're gonna play in front of thousands of people. And he's like, Darren, we're a tribute band. I've been in many tribute bands since, when you left that time period. I've been in a cheap tribute. I'll be happy with 20, 30 people once a month, maybe twice a month. I'm just doing this for fun. So at the show with Paul Rogers, with Cheap Trick, actually it was, I walked up to him and I went, hey. I was right.
Right.
So that's
you called it.
We didn't get paid a dime, but at the time we didn't care. We were playing in front of 30. Cheap Trick was 37,000 people. So it was insane. We got pictures of that, man. It's freaking insane. It was awesome. And they were so great. They were just the greatest guys in the world.
And then we started getting more venues around town that accommodated bigger shows, and then the tribute band started taking off, and you guys were leading the pack, and you started getting paid.
Started making
what
money.
I heard anyway, y'all
we started
one of the
making money.
highest paid.
Not enough to make a living yet, but we started getting money. As a matter of fact, House of Blues, we tried to get in there for, I think me and Mike called them and bugged them for 5 or 6 years. And they did not do tributes. They would not do tributes. But once again, when you guys are playing out there, if you're a new band and stuff, if you're playing in front of 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, whatever, just give it all. If you're not getting paid and you're just doing it to get notoriety, just play like you're at Madison Square Garden. Just play because you never know who's there. So House of Blues finally calls us up. There was, I forget the name of the national act that was going to play there, but they were going on early. So they needed people to, stay for a longer time. So they were like, okay, this band's going to finish about 7, 8 o'clock. We're going to tell the people to leave. And then if they have their ticket, they can come back in, and anybody else that wants to come in can, buy tickets and stuff. And so you guys go on about 8, 9 o'clock, and we'll give you a foot in the door. Don't expect too many people.
All right.
But, so now, we've done the Bone Bash, we did all this other stuff. So we had more of a following than even we knew about.
Right.
We had no idea, because it wasn't Facebook or anything at that time.
MySpace. Ash Jeeves.
Yeah.
Was it even MySpace back then? I think when MySpace came out. I don't remember. But we would take an ad down like The Observer telling our shows back then. But so, you know, after 5 or 6 years, we just decided to play House of Blues. So we're like, all right. So National Act finished. They had about 500 or 600 people at that show. So they said, okay, everybody, Back in Black's coming back again. They'll be playing. So if you guys have your tickets, come on back in. And so we did our sound check. We come out on the stage. There's about 1,000 people there.
Wow.
Not only did everybody come back from that show, but fans of our band that got wind of it came to it. Once again, did not get paid. It was just to get our foot in the door at the House of Blues. So just so happened that the big guy from Live Nation was there. And he saw that. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, I can make money with you guys. And that's how he got in with Live Nation and started getting better gigs, doing House of Blues tours and stuff like that across the country. And they even did a tribute wing starting with us, and then they started having tribute bands at the House of Blues, and it all built up from there. And it was just right place, right time. You know, it just, you never know. You never know. Take the gigs. Just take the gigs and play your ass off like you're playing in front of 10 people or 10,000 people. Do the same show.
I've remembered that bit of advice that Darren gave me probably back in 2005. I always remember that, and I always tell all of my bandmates that, you know, Darren always preaches, you play the gig like there's 1,000 people out there. Even if there's only 5, you give the same show, and they'll come. If they like you, they'll come back. If you do a great job, they'll come back. And Darren's the one that taught me that, you know.
Yeah, you never know who's in the crowd. I mean,
no, you never do.
You never know.
And as far as getting able to play all these gigs, you know, Kill 'Em All has been around since 2010. And I was in Judas Rising previous to that, but if it hadn't been for Darren and Back in Black and the persistence and tenacity they had, none of us would be doing this. So I give a lot of the credit, especially for me doing what I'm doing now, to Darren and Back in Black, because without that, we wouldn't be doing nothing.
No, we don't know that.
No, I do know that because, again, I'm like, Darren and I have a lot of history, okay? So I had to bug Darren just like he bugged everybody else for a gig. I bugged him the same way. And I remember the day that
Got the text to prove it.
not just the text, but again, we used to drink an awful lot, so.
Yes.
And I remember the day that Darren actually got me a gig with Back in Black, Lone Star Bar, remember, here in Capel?
The sand volleyball
I
court.
went to go see,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's where they were playing, you know, so we were playing out there.
And we played anywhere.
Yeah, so they're getting, and me and Darren, and I kept following him around. Dude, my band, Mind's Eye, remember with Cindy and all them?
Yes.
With Cindy Ramirez and Brad Wiley?
Great band, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Darren used to love the way we used to do Barracuda, I remember. But anyway.
Yes, Cindy had a great voice.
Yeah. Anyway,
Has a great voice.
followed Darren around. And I kept saying, dude, my band is badass. Just give me a chance. Finally, we walked right by Mike. He stops me and he stops Mike. He goes like this to Mike. He goes, give this motherfucker a gig so he'll leave me alone. so like 3 days later, I get a phone call from Darren, as a matter of fact, and he goes, hey, we're playing at Firewater, and we want you guys to be the opening act. So see, tenacity works, man. And since then, I've got to open up for Back in Black and Darren maybe, 30.
So now I'm going to get 50 people aggravating me at every show. Thanks, Chuck.
But that's the way to go. You get Darren, you know, bug Darren.
No.
But, yeah, so, yeah, I give you all the credit. Well, not all the credit, but I give you 99.9% of my credit. How's that?
Well, okay. But I still think you guys would have made it. I mean, all the bands that we play with.
But we needed a door to
You
go
guys and all the other bands we play with, there's a lot of great bands out there.
But you
that
gave
would
us
have
the
made
door.
it on
You
their
opened
own.
the door for us.
That would have made it on their own merit. So we just happened to be one of the first ones.
Yep,
It was just a
exactly.
coincidence that we happened to be one of the first ones. It could have been any one of the other guys out there.
But it
we
wasn't. It was you guys.
Just, well.
And again, I'm going to kiss your ass this whole episode.
Oh,
so-
okay, yes.
You know what I mean?
Once again, not getting paid for this.
So how long have you been with Live Nation? How many years now?
Well, it's not like where we work with Live Nation. We
Oh.
work for Live Nation, but we work with them. So
Y'all
that-
manage yourselves, right? Y'all manage
Yeah,
yourselves?
Mike Mraz, our Angus guy, he does all the booking, all the managing, he does everything. He takes care of all that.
And all over the country, he books all those shows
Yes.
and everything?
Yes, he does it all. I just thank God for him because I just have to show up, sing, and leave. So
Right.
thank God for Mike.
Yep.
So, and yeah, Live Nation, we've been, known those guys, I don't even know how long it's been many years now. It's been many years, and they've always been great to us, and we love those guys. They've always treated us good. Matter of fact, it's because of them and Mike calling them that I got the audition with AC/DC.
Right? Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Live
too.
Nation sent them a thing saying, you gotta try this guy
Kind of
out.
like the movie Rockstar, huh?
Except that guy got the job.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. Yeah.
Hey, man, there's only one guy that we've never even heard of that beat you out, though.
Yeah, Axl Rose. If I'm going to lose to somebody, I lose to Axl Rose. It was me, 2 other tribute singers, and Axl Rose. And Axl Rose got it. He had the name recognition, the name notoriety.
Even though he had a broken leg, had to sit in a chair.
But he's Axl Rose.
Yeah, I know.
It's like if I'm going to lose to somebody.
Axl Rose, yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to touch on that a little bit more, Darren? So how was that whole experience for you?
Well, when we first got the call, well, it all started with Mike. I heard that Mike came to me and said, "Gee, what happened to Brian Johnson? He lost his hearing." And I looked at Mike and I said, "Get me an audition." Mike said, "How am I going to do that?" So we contacted some of his connections, Live Nation and stuff, and talked to the right people, I guess. So we didn't think about it. We figured no one's going to.
But up to that point, though, they already knew about you guys.
We didn't know that. We didn't know that because years ago we got hired to do a show in Sarasota, Florida, for I guess it was the community center or something. I forget what it was. But apparently Brian Johnson.
Wife was there, right?
Well, his wife was there, but Brian Johnson was on the board of directors or something, and he wanted us. He heard about us, and he wanted us to come out and do this show. So we get to Sarasota, Florida, and you would think Brian Johnson, big rock star. Everywhere we went in Sarasota, whether it be a fancy restaurant, a little bar, everybody had Brian's story. What a great guy he is. Like, oh, see that park over there? Brian Johnson built it. This band came up to me and they said, yeah, their drummer or somebody died in a car crash, and they were doing a benefit to raise money for the family, and Brian Johnson showed up and said, "Can I be a part of this?" I mean, he's just that kind of a guy. So we did the show, and we had rumors, Brian Johnson's coming. Brian Johnson's coming. So I'm whipping out. So all of a sudden, Mike's doing his solo, and I get called off the stage by one of the guys, and they're like, Brian can't make it. He's on a plane right now. And he left late, or something happened, he couldn't make it, he's bummed out, but his wife is here. His wife and his nephews are here. So I was like, holy crap. Now, Mike and the guys didn't know anything about this. But they said, when I got back from talking to that guy, I sang better than I was singing. Brian Johnson's wife's in the audience.
Right.
So, and she came up to us after the show, nicest person in the world, and she's like, "Oh, Brian is so upset that he couldn't make it. He called me from the plane, and he said, 'Tell the boys I said hi.'" And I went, he called us the boys?
Right.
I was like, and he was like, yes, he wanted to come up and sing with you. And I was like, oh, don't tell me that. Oh, my God, you're killing me. So that was a really great experience. So we didn't think that they kept track of us. So we get a phone call, and they call us up, and Mike likes to sleep until noon or 1. And his phone's off. He won't answer it. He won't answer it. If his house could be on fire, he won't get up until noon or 1. So he's not answering. It's the label. It's the AC/DC's managing company, not the label, the managing company. So finally, they're trying to contact everybody, and nobody's picking up. And I think it was on Facebook Messenger or something. They finally started posting on that, and our drummer Ken Scumo at the time, he saw that, and he was like, "Oh, this has got to be bullcrap." But he looked it up. He was like, "Holy crap, this is really AC/DC's managing company." So he's calling Mike, "Pick up your phone." He's calling me, "Pick up your phone." So finally Mike answers, and Mike was like, "Oh, this has got to be bullcrap."
Right.
So he calls them up, and sure enough, he listens to the message, and it was them. He said, "Please call us back." And they said, Brian has this issue, and we're auditioning people. It was in Atlanta where it happened, so they had to cancel the Atlanta show, so they figured, let's just stay out here and do the auditions. So they flew me out to Atlanta the day before, and it's like, we didn't get any sleep. Me and Mike were like 2 schoolgirls. Am I still allowed to say that?
Yeah, sure.
I know,
unless you identify as something different.
No,
Say whatever you want.
we were sitting in the room, in a hotel room, just like, so we couldn't sleep. And then that morning, I'm sitting there, I almost blew out my voice, because I'm warming up. I never warm up. And I'm warming up, and I'm just like, oh my God, I think I blew out my voice. Oh my God, I think I blew out my voice. So we walk in, and they're not there yet, but the whole stage crew is there. And it's like a family. A lot of these guys have been working with them since like the 70s.
Wow.
And they're like a family. They're not like stage crew, band. They're friends. They're family. They work together. And we walk into where we're going to do the audition, the rehearsal area. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 Marshall stacks full stacks on each side, 2 Ampeg bass rigs, Chris Slade's full drum kit with the two bass drums and the gong, and he's got, I don't know why he has a gong, he didn't hit it. But anyway, he's got the whole thing set up, and we're like, holy crap. So we asked the sound guy, we were like, the guy, the engineer, we're like, oh, is this, you storing stuff from the concert? They're like, no, this is his rehearsal stuff.
Wow.
We're like, well, which ones does he use? Which ones are on? They're all on.
Wow.
He said, there's a reason Brian lost his hearing. And they asked me, they said, this is gonna be loud. They said, do you want earplugs? I was like, been in bands all my life, I've listened to music loud as a kid, I can take it. They're like, okay, this loud, the guy told me, and then there's AC/DC loud. He said, you don't understand how loud this is gonna be. And I was like, well, I'll be all right. So they get the guitar on, the engineer puts the guitar on, he's about to warm up, and he hits the first chord. My shirt started going like this, the wind from all like 12, 13 amplifiers, full stacks just coming at me. And I was like, oh my God, this is loud.
I'll take those earplugs
now, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't. And then AC/DC comes in, and here comes Angus, and he walks over to me, and I'm just being professional. I'm about to lose my shit.
Yeah.
I really wanted to just go, oh my God! But I didn't do that. And I'm like, oh, Angus, thank you so much, man. He's like, yeah, just, don't be nervous. I know, just relax, do the song, sing, have a good time. And we'll be doing all this. And as he's talking to me, the guy walks over with the guitar, and he just goes, yeah, so we'll just have some fun. And the guy puts the guitar around his neck, and he puts it on. He's like, yes, and we'll just do this. And he's got like 20, 30 guitars all lined up on the wall. They use like 3 or 4 tuners that they have all set up there. It was just a guitar heaven. All these SGs just lined up everywhere. And Mike was like, oh, can I touch one to see how the neck? No. Mm-hmm. But he did get to touch Malcolm's.
The Gretsch.
Yeah, not the original one, but there was some behind the stage and stuff. So he let him touch that. So that was cool. They were really cool. That was so cool to us, and we were just like, all right.
Well, didn't you say that the audition was really only supposed to be like a few songs, and it ended up being like 90 minutes, something like that?
I don't know if it was supposed to be, but I was told by their stage manager that we'll probably do about 5 or 6 songs. Just get the feeling. Then we'll let you know what goes on.
Did they pick the songs, or?
Well, they were open to
Okay.
it, and I had asked the manager. We met the manager the night before, the stage manager guy. I think it was the stage manager. And we met him the night before, and I was picking his brain. And by the way, Angus is 5'2". The stage manager is 7'2" or 7'3". It's just freaky. But anyway, so he said to me, I asked him, I said, I asked him about that, and he's like, well, they'll probably let you pick the songs. They may throw out some. I was like, they'll probably ask you what you want to do first. And I said, well, what's your advice? Because they said, well, what song you want to do first to show your voice? And I said, well, for those about to rock, we salute you. I said, I do that one really good, so I'd like to do that one. He's like, okay, I'm going to give you some advice. Wait to do that at the very end, because that's the song they close with. And they're going to want to see how strong your voice is after singing a few. Well, not that. No, I was doing a set yet. After singing a few songs, they're going to want to see that, and that'll really impress them. So I took his advice. So I walk in, and Angus asked me what do you want to start with? And I was like, well, there's the rock or bust set. Let's do the set. He's like, all right, which one from the set? I said, well, let's start with Hell's Bells. And Angus goes, okay, bells, do we have bells? Do we have bells? All of a sudden, gong, gong.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, this is freaking awesome, but I'm keeping cool. So we're going through the songs, one after the other. Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, and I'm singing like Brian, and then Shot Down in Flames they want to do. It was on the set list. We were doing the order of the set. So we started doing Shot Down in Flames. And this is when it really hit me that I'm with AC/DC. Because I'm being cool now, this whole time. I'm being the front man, I'm in the front. I wanted to just look at them. I just wanted to turn around and just, look at them and just watch them play, but, they're testing me. So I'm in the front, and I found out that one of the other guys that auditioned, he actually got yelled at because he kept turning around and looking at them, they're like, turn around, don't pay attention to us.
Like front or band?
Be a front band, So we're doing Shot Down in Flames, and there's a part in that song where Bon Scott says, hey you, Angus, shoot me, shoot. And for 20 years I've been doing that to Mike. Mm-hmm. It's been me looking at Mike. So that part comes, and I go, hey you, who? Angus! I'm like, holy shit, I'm pointing at Angus, it's really Angus, here he comes.
That's awesome.
And then Angus comes over and he starts walking towards me, like, oh God, he's walking towards me. And now he doesn't do this stuff, of course, when he's rehearsing, but he doesn't stand still. He's not just sitting there. He's like, he's all over the place.
Right.
And that's when I realized I am playing with freaking AC/DC. This is freaking amazing.
That's cool. So let me ask you a quick question, though. I know you had the audition with AC/DC, but did you feel like that you had to do Brian and Bon and you couldn't throw any of Darren in there?
They told me
Or
that.
how did that-
They
did
actually
that come up?
said, sing whatever you want to do, sing your own voice, do whatever you want. But I couldn't.
Well, yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I've been singing like Brian and Bon for so long, I forgot how to sing.
Right.
And I don't think it would sound right. I don't think, Back in Black in my voice, like, back in black, I hit the sack, it's not going to be, it's got to be, back in black, you got to have that. So, and it was funny because at the end of Shot Down in Flames, because I was doing Bon Scott's voice, of course, and on the album, at the end of it, Bon Scott makes a sound. Yes. So at the very end of the song, they went, and I went, oh! And Angus looked at me and went, ah! And Cliff pointed at me, and I went, oh, good, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
They like that, so.
Well, that's good, man. So that was a great experience for you, man.
And did you close out with Those About to Rock?
Well, we did for Those About to Rock, We Salute You. That was the last one we did. And the funny story about that was in the front they have monitors. And in the monitors, just like on the live stage, because they have like thousands of songs they sing, and so, for Brian, they have the words in case, because it happens to me, you got the words. So every song that I did, all the words came out. So at the end of For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, he says, when he scats, he goes, for those who give, those who take, and then something unintelligible. And I just made crap up. I didn't know what to do. So I was like, I'm finally going to know what he says. It's going to be on the monitor.
teleprompter,
On
yeah.
the teleprompter. So I was like, so it goes, for those who give, and I'm like, all right, for those who take, I got that right. Yeah, for those who take. And then question marks came across. And I was like,
That's awesome.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's awesome.
Are you kidding me?
and the guy told me, well, Brian really doesn't remember what he said then. We can't figure out what he's saying, so
know what he wrote.
he just says whatever.
That's cool as hell. That's
So
badass.
I think it's over.
Right.
I've been there for 2 hours now, for almost 3 hours now.
Wow.
So I go outside to smoke a cigarette, and all of a sudden, they all come out. They smoke more than me. And they're all out there, except Cliff. I don't think Cliff smokes. But they all came out. Everybody came out. And we started talking and smoking, and it was like, it's like me sitting here with you guys talking.
Right.
It wasn't like, we're AC/DC. No, they were asking me about New York. I was asking them about Bon Scott. And we were just telling each other stories. And it was an awesome experience. I mean, and we're like all excited. I did my Kung Fu guy. Remember my Kung Fu guy? Kung Fu guy. That's where they overdub the voices. And
Lips don't match?
And the lips don't match with the voice. And I did this for AC/DC, so cool.
Yeah.
So I said, I looked at them and said, you know the old Kung Fu movies? And they're like, yeah. I was like, okay, it looks something like this. Hey, you, still, my Kung Fu is much better than yours. You want to fight? Fight me. Ha, I lost you. Now, they were cracking up. So that was great. So that was a good thing. And
Got to zoom on that one out.
and so I go back in, we finish smoking, I go back in, and I think it's over. Angus comes in, and now it's like three hours we're there. And I went to Angus, I said, Angus, I just wanted to say thank you so much for this opportunity. Whether I get the job or not, just the fact that you thought of me and brought me here and did all this, I just want to tell you, I will never forget this. It's one of the greatest things that happened in my life, and it's just an awesome experience. And he looked at me and said, don't you want to sing some more? And I went, yes, please. and it's exactly what happened. And we started doing more songs, and he said, do you know Riff Raff? And I was like, yeah, I love Riff Raff. He's like, okay, we're bringing it back into the set. We haven't played in a while, so if we mess up, please forgive us. And I went, you got the job, dude. You're okay. It's all right. You're good. And it was just great watching them play because, it's like musicians are musicians, and they do the same things.
Right.
So Angus is playing, and they had Stevie, because
Yeah,
Malcolm
at that time,
Malcolm was not
passed
able
away.
to play.
Or no, he
I
hadn't
think he hadn't passed away
He
yet.
hadn't
No,
passed away, yeah.
and Stevie was doing it, and as he's playing, they just did Riff Raff, they just, re-brought it into the set, they haven't played it for years. And Angus was looking at Malcolm, showing him the chords, and, I'm not Malcolm, at Stevie, and showing him, and Stevie was watching him and stuff, like, this is like, just like my band.
Right.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then he looked at me and said, Angus said, well, pick a song, Darren, whichever one you want, just pick a song. And I wanted to be cool, and I said, I wanted to pick, first concert I ever saw was Flick of the Switch. That's the first time I ever saw AC/DC. Fastway opened up for them.
I was there.
And I saw them at Madison Square Garden.
Well, I didn't. I saw them at Tingley Coliseum.
Okay, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
New York.
You went.
Anyway.
MSG is bad for you, technically.
Anyway, you can edit that, right? Yeah. Anyway, so I was just like, give him a good B-side, a good deep cut. I said, I want to do Flick of the Switch. And he went, oh, where the fuck did you pull that out of? I don't remember how to do that song. and they all can't hear real good. And Cliff's like, what song does he want to do? And he's like, he said he wants to do Flick of the Switch. I don't remember Flick of the Switch. I don't know how to do that song. I don't remember that song anymore. So we did not do Flick of the Switch.
Oh, well. Because AC/DC didn't know how to do it.
Well, you forgot they hadn't.
No, I'm just saying.
They hadn't played it since they hadn't played it.
A lot of bands do
that. But
that.
I can't tell you the musicianship of this band. Just the professionalism and the way they sounded just like they sound on the album. And Angus, every note that he hit, just ding. I mean, the way he attacks that guitar, I was in awe of just this whole thing. And then and the hardest part was when we left, they told us you can't talk about this. You can't say nothing because we've never done this before. We don't know what we're going with, so you can't say anything. And it was the hardest thing because my friends from New York, they didn't know about the audition, they didn't know about anything, but they heard about Brian Johnson because it was on the news now. Brian Johnson lost his hearing, and they're like, "Hey, Darren, Brian lost his hearing. Why don't you try out for AC/DC?" Ha ha ha! And I'm sitting there, I had already done it. I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Why did I do that? Ha ha! You're so funny. Like that could never happen." And when it did happen, I mean, we were ready when they finally told us. I mean, Mike and Nikki. Nikki does all our social media. Nikki Kennedy, she does all our social media. And Mike, they were ready to launch it. They had everything on the kid. They had everything ready to launch. Audition, Darren, audition. We were ready to go. And as soon as we got the email, ding, we got the email, bam, they launched it. And I got to do that. And I mean, I did. I auditioned for them, dick. So I couldn't. And we just waited and waited and waited. And we kind of, we didn't know at the time I auditioned that Axl was auditioning with them.
Like
but then
the
we
next
saw,
day, right?
But then we saw pictures in the paper of Axl
going into the rehearsal
the
studio.
same rehearsal studio. I went.
Well,
but Axl did a great job, and Axl.
It really wasn't
Axl.
because of the talent or the musicianship. Axl sells tickets. You know what I mean? It's Axl.
Well, he's also been around. I mean,
but what I'm saying,
he's a legend.
As far as
I'm not going to say anything bad about Axl Rose.
I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I'm just saying in comparison, the execution of the AC/DC material. Come on, can't do much better than that.
I appreciate it, but
Axl is Axl. And
well, my opinion was he sat in the chair the whole time because he broke his leg or something. I guess.
There's one
and I just didn't
video
think
that I saw.
I thought it took away from the stage show myself.
Of him doing Thunderstruck, and to me, he actually did an okay job. I mean,
I saw them live.
Vocally did okay. I just don't think it looked right for him sitting in that chair.
No, of course not. No, but when I saw him, he still hadn't hurt himself.
Well, I saw him live in Buffalo, and he was fine, and he was up on the stage, and he sounded great. And
did you get to meet him?
I didn't get to meet him, but when I left the audition, they had told us, you are now a member of the AC/DC family. Nice. Anytime we're in a town you're in, get in contact with us. We'll get you backstage, say hi. We thought that they were just being nice. So me and my wife were going to Niagara Falls in Buffalo, New York, and I told Mike, I was like, AC/DC is going to be there. We actually planned our vacation around AC/DC being there. And we're like, Mike, let's take them up on that. Let's see if they're. We didn't think that they would ever even. This was like a year or so later, and we sent them a message saying, "Hey," and Mike's like, "I want to see Niagara Falls." So Mike and his son also came. So we sent them a message, and a short time later, your passes are at the will call. Looking forward to seeing you guys again.
Nice.
And we went backstage, and everybody was back there, and Chris Slade, I was getting ready to leave. Everybody was there. Angus was tired, so he wasn't even, he didn't come back to hang out, but Chris Slade did, and Stevie did, and we were hanging out backstage, and I'm about to leave, and I hear Chris Slade go, "Darren, do Kung Fu Guy for my wife." So, swear to God, true story.
Well, I
So
don't know.
apparently, all the crap I get from my band about we've seen it 1,000 times, it paid off.
Right, there you go.
There you go.
All that practice.
But yeah, so we got to see them at Buffalo, and actually did a great job. And it was just so cool that we know they're on their radar. And when you had said that they've been following us, we didn't know that until the audition, and we had told them that it's so great that we're on your radar now. And Angus said, and the other stage guys, they were like, oh, they've been following you for a long time. They know about you guys. They've been following you. So
That's cool when you can get endorsed by the.
I think a lot of the tribute bands that are really good are like Def Leppard. Def Legend is known by Def Leppard. I'm sure Kill 'Em All has been, Lars has probably checked y'all out online
Well, he
somewhere.
hasn't said anything, and so, you know, I'm still waiting for that, because there's several Metallica tributes that are from California that are on their radar, you know.
Yeah, well, they're on their
They just
radar to
had their-
shut down because they copy almost everything they do, but y'all don't.
Not that specifically, but they just had their 40th anniversary shows over there, and there was 3 Metallica tributes from California that were invited by them to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we're on their radar or not. Maybe one of these days we'll get to find out. But it's cool just being able to play tribute. You know what I mean? But so that's cool,
Tom
man.
Latorre mentioned
yeah.
Minecraft, or not Minecraft.
That's another thing, Mike.
Walk
if you're
in the
watching-
Shadows.
If you're watching this, Mike, my Queensryche tribute, Walk in the Shadows wants to open for Back in Black. So.
I told them.
See, Mike, he told you, called me.
I don't just ignore your texts.
I know. Man. I just like to give you a bunch of crap.
All right,
that's
so
all.
let's talk about this documentary that you've been talking about all night, My Stupid Tribute Band?
Yes.
My Little, what is it called?
My Stupid Tribute Band.
My Stupid Tribute Band.
Yes.
Tell us about that and how people can see it, and is it gonna come out on,
Hopefully, I think Mike said it's going to come out in spring. I think he's shopping it around right now, and he's doing bids for it, I think. I don't know. That's not my genre in this band. That's not my area of expertise. But it's been shown at a lot of film festivals. We actually won some film festivals out of country, like in France and in, I think Germany, I think a lot of countries. Maybe in Italy, I think it was shown. And our big one out here was they had the Dances with Films Festival out in California on the Sunset Strip.
Oh, you guys, I saw you
And
pictures of that.
it was right where they do the Oscars.
Right.
You know that by the Chinese Theater.
Yep.
And the
Kodak
big
Theater?
staircase, or whatever it's called now.
Mann's.
It was Mann's Chinese Theater. I don't know what it's called now, but that's where they were premiering it at the theater in there, and they said to us, "And we want you guys to perform." You know, they're not really going to advertise it. We're just going to go out on the street with the backdrop of the theater, of the staircase that the Oscar people go up and down.
That's nice.
And just start playing. So we set up, we started playing, and a big crowd of people on the Sunset Strip came up, and they were listening to it. And I think there's video on our Back in Black Facebook page. Back in Black Info is our Facebook page. And you can check out the video on there. And we premiered it there. So now it's just a matter of time. I think Mike said he's looking at the spring.
for like streaming, Netflix or Amazon?
Well, no, I'm not going to say, but hopefully a big company, hopefully. It'll be a big
How
thing.
about
Big
DVDs and stuff like that, y'all?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Like
don't
a
know.
distribution type deal or what?
Hopefully. I mean, that's like I said, Mike's working on all that. I don't know anything until Mike says, got big news, guys.
Right,
And I'm like, what? He's like, I'll tell you at the show. I'm like, "God, just tell me now.
right.
And then he lets us know. So,
So that, and I haven't seen it yet. I, for some reason, didn't get invited to the premiere. But anyway, what was I gonna say? It covers not only your audition with AC/DC, right, but your road to sobriety and all that too, right? Some of that?
yeah, it talks about my
So tell everybody, Darren, how long you've been not drinking now?
I think it's been 6 years now.
6 years.
6 or 7 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, what happened was I had an inner ear infection, and it was bad. And I was like, just the floor was moving. I was getting like all messed up and stuff because my equilibrium was all off. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor checked me, and he said, well, you have a really bad inner ear infection, but so antihistamines will clear it up. So he gave me some prescription antihistamines. And he said, since you're here, let's do a full blood work on you. You haven't had a checkup ever.
Right.
So let's check you. So he takes the blood test, and then the blood test comes back, and he's like, how much do you drink? And I said, a lot. And he's like, yeah, well, I asked you because you have a ridiculous amount of alcohol in your blood. It's ridiculous. He said, do you have a pain here? And I was like, yeah, I pulled a muscle working out. He's like, no, that's your liver. Your liver is inflamed, and if you don't stop drinking, you're not at the point of no return now, but if you don't stop, you're gonna die. So I stopped that day, didn't take another drink again, because death is a good
Motivator, huh?
yeah, it'll motivate you, since you're gonna die if you keep doing it. So I actually had a bottle that I just bought of Jim Beam. That was my drink, Jim Beam. I had a big, huge jug of it in my car that it's somewhere in my house to this day unopened.
Well, good for you, Darren.
Yeah,
Good for you.
so.
And just so people know, you know, I've been sober now for almost 3 years. The last time I had a drink was actually at the Godfather's birthday party 3 years ago. I drank so much, I don't remember driving home. Could have hurt myself, and more importantly, I could have hurt somebody else.
Well, at least my shirts are dry now.
And his shirts are dry.
Every time I was with this guy when we were on drinking days, I knew Chuck was there because a beer would spill on me before I saw him.
Right.
It would be like, Darren, I'm sorry. And he would spill a beer on me. Look, I'm not lying. It would be at least 9 out of 10 times that I saw him, he would spill beer on me somehow, some way.
Right. Those were the days, man, of spilling beer on Darren, but...
We went shot for shot with Dimebag Darrell.
Right. That was, yeah, I remember. That was the night I was talking about with George, remember? But anyway, going back to the sobriety thing, Darren has been probably my biggest inspiration for that, you know, and if Darren can do it, man, I can do it, anybody can do it, and it's been a saving grace, you know, Darren, just publicly, I've told you privately, but publicly, I want to say thanks, man.
Oh,
I appreciate that, brother. You've been my biggest inspiration, you know.
Yeah,
You
20
and,
$20.
$20, yeah. And you and Brian White, you know, my singer from Kill 'Em All, he's been sober for about as long as you have now. And you guys are my saving grace, man. I appreciate
Good
that.
for you guys. I'm happy for you.
And my wife as well, she's been nothing but supportive. So that's cool, man. So,
I'm sure that my wife is still with me because I quit drinking.
right.
Bev, question.
Bev, look at my hair, Bev.
You're driving down the road.
They always had a contest about their hair.
Bev, look at this.
Say you're driving down the road and Shoot Me On That Long comes on the radio. Do you change it?
No.
Or do you sing along with it?
No.
Or-
Well, I actually don't sing along with the Brian Johnson stuff because I don't want to blow out my voice before shows. But no, I can listen to AC/DC all day,
I was
all
wondering
night.
if you were just, if I hear another AC/DC song, I'm going to scream.
I never get sick of AC/DC. I grew up listening to it over and over again, singing in front of my mirror with a hairbrush. Now I get to do it in front of people.
Right.
So it's like, I never will get bored of AC/DC.
Have you ever seen Al Dubon Squad, his band?
Yes, he actually filled in for us one time on bass.
Fat Daddies, right?
Fat Daddies, yeah. He's a
And
great
he does
guy. He's a great singer, too.
He does a good Bon Scott, too. And
He's a great bass player, great singer.
they do some good obscure songs, just
Yeah.
like y'all do sometimes. That's one of the best things about you guys is y'all change your set list up. Of course, you got to have the staples in there, but y'all do some really good B-sides, I think. I've seen y'all do Night Prowler and...
Yeah, we just started kicked in the teeth, not kicked in the teeth, not kicked in the teeth. Oh my God, I just went blank on it. It's a newer song that we added.
You did Live Wire
Sink
recently.
the Pink, Darren?
No, we didn't. We don't do anything from that album. No, nothing from Fly on the Wall.
That's
Fly
a
on the
badass
Wall.
song. But how about Inject the Venom? Is that on the set list yet?
We played it a couple of times. We're probably gonna bring it back. We're adding some new songs now. We're
love
learning
that
some new
song,
songs.
man.
I'm gonna surprise you guys when we come out and start doing
Are you
them.
going to do any of the newer stuff, or are you guys sticking to the classic? Kinda? Like Black Ice, I know you do Black Ice, right?
We don't do anything from Black
I
Eyes.
thought you
We
did
do.
the single off of that one, when it came out.
Well, we did from Black Eyes. The only one we did was Rock and Roll Train.
That's right, Rock and Roll Train.
Rock and Roll
So
Train.
you did do one.
But
you did
nothing
one-
from the new one.
Gotcha.
Nothing from the new one. It's actually, it's harder for me to sing lower Brian than screaming higher Brian,
Right.
which is weird. And it's just like, well, it's not to say we're not going to do them, but there's so many older ones that we want to get into our repertoire that we don't want, that's what we want to focus on. I mean, there's so many good songs that you don't hear tribute bands doing from the For Those About to Rock, We Salute You album. And that is the most underrated album ever, because that album,
Inject
every
the
song in
Venom.
that album is friggin' amazing.
Right.
You guys got to revisit that album if you haven't heard it in a while. There's just so many songs that we want to add in, and then eventually we'll probably throw that newer stuff from the newer album in.
Do you think people are going to want to hear it? The
I
newer
don't know.
stuff?
I don't know. They Rock and Roll Train went over good.
That's a good one, though. That's
Yeah,
a great one.
Rock and Roll Train
But
went
like,
over real good.
I've noticed, like, just say, like, in the Metallica thing, like, nobody wants to hear anything off Hardwired. We do 2 songs off that, and
This
It
guy
doesn't translate.
When this guy first started Kill 'Em All and he wanted to play with us, he was like, "Yeah, we're sticking to our guns. We are doing just the Kill 'Em All album. We're gonna do the
That's
Kill 'Em All
what- that's
album."
what-
wait a
Scott
minute,
was- that's what
wait a
Scott was
minute.
singer.
Okay, let's stop right there.
Yeah, that's
okay?
what you told me.
No, okay, I did tell you that, but there's a reason I told you that. Scott LePage, former guitar player of Back in Black, right?
Yes, great guy. Love him.
He's the one he will be on our show next time.
Oh, you can ask him about that.
But he's the one that started Kill 'Em All. That was Scott's idea, to play nothing but the Kill 'Em All. So don't shoot the messenger.
And I had a talk with Chuck, so they're going to play with us, they were going to do a show with us. And
I told this story already, it was House of Blues. that
Yeah,
you
and I was
offered
like,
us a
I
spot.
said, guys, you got to do me a favor though, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I love Kill 'Em All. Hardcore Metallica fans love Kill 'Em All. I don't mind hearing Orion. I don't know, you know, that great instrumental, but I'm going to give you some advice now. You got to do Sandman.
Right.
You got to do one. You've got to play. I know you don't want to. Master of Puppets. You've got to do that. And sure enough, they did it. The crowd lost their shit.
Yep. Our first gig at
House of Blues, they kicked into Sandman. The crowd lost their shit.
Right.
And it's just something you have to do. I know a lot of people are like.
Okay. No, keep going.
Oh, a lot of people are like, we're sticking to our guns. We're gonna, you know, just be true to ourselves and play the songs. You're playing for the fans. If you want to play for yourself, play in your garage.
Right, exactly.
But you're playing for the people that pay to see you. Give them what they want. That's some advice that I also give. We give the people what they want. I'd rather not do Shook Me All Night Long every single show. But if we don't, people will be like, why don't you Shook Me All Night Long?
All right, we're going to close out the show with a couple more segments. You had some original projects going on too,
Yes.
besides the one in California recently, not recently, but in the last 20 years, you did Manic and it with Chuck?
Did Manic, I had, first time ever, my voice, I had, not polyps, but I had swollen glands, and I still did shows even though I shouldn't have, and I hurt my voice, so I couldn't do some ACD, I couldn't do the voice, had to take a rest for a little while, which never happened to me before, never happened again, but I decided to do a solo project, and that was my drinking and many, many, many drug days. And I wrote, like, how many songs are on that album?
I think 13?
I think it's more than that. I think it's like 16, 17.
Was it 16 or
Yeah.
17? Well, I listened to it on the way back from
And
Oklahoma.
I listened to it now, and I'm like, wow. I was up for, I mean, I didn't sleep. I was up for days just writing these songs and these lyrics. I'm like, oh, that's a good lyric, and I'm writing
What
them.
does it sound like?
And I'm putting, and it's a, I did all the, I wrote all the songs, I produced them, and
Guitar, or rhythm guitar.
and I did all the rhythm guitar stuff, and I brought Chuck and drove him crazy, because Paul is what they call a, you're like not a John Bottom, a Keith Moon. You're a freelance drummer.
I'm a freelance drummer.
You play it, and we were doing these songs, and you know, and I'm like OCD, and we were doing this one song, and on the verse,
Not Your Bedroom. It's called Not Your Bedroom.
no, it wasn't Not Your Bedroom.
No?
No, it was the first song on the album. It was
No, you let me pretty much have free reign on that one. It was Not
was
Your
on-
Bedroom because you and Jeff Morris, rest in peace, Jeff, you guys both tag teamed me on that. And that was the one that drove me crazy, Not Your Bedroom.
I mean, I remember because well, it was one song that on the verse he had this great drum beat, and it was. Do you remember the drum beat? It was something like.
It was that, something like that.
It was something like.
Anyways,
It was.
real quick, soundclick.com/manic. If you want to listen to that stuff, it's on there. It's called Not Your Bedroom. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, I think it was. I thought it was a different one, but I'll take your word for it because I drove you crazy on that because I'm OCD, and he had this beat on the first verse, and it was like, and it was freaking perfect. And then we're doing it, and I was like, yeah. And then it goes into the chorus, good chorus. Then it goes back to it, and then he starts, and then
Something different.
Second verse comes in, and it's like, I was like, stop, cut, what are you doing? It's like, do what you did the first time. It's like, I don't know what I did the first time. I was like, well, listen to it. So we made him come in and listen to it. So he's listening to it. 20 friggin' takes. He finally went like this. He threw his sticks in the air and went, fuck this, I need a break. And he went outside. And he just went
Okay,
outside.
but see, that's only half the story. When
Drove him crazy.
When you get Darren going in there, and Darren's high, okay? He's as high as a fucking kite, plus drunk. I'm drunk, so those two combinations don't mix. See, so Darren's out there going, Chuck, listen to me. Bass drum snare, bass drum snare, bass drum snare.
I don't play drums, that's all I know.
So when you hear that shit fucking for 45 minutes, yeah, I'm gonna throw my drumsticks out and take a break.
But
it turned out fucking
thank
great.
you, the finished product.
It turned out fucking great.
Because there was a hook. The drum beat was the hook.
SoundClick/Manic. Go check it out. Anyway.
There we go. Also, you got Stripwire, which
Yes.
is an original band that sounds like AC/DC. How'd that come to be?
Well, me and Mike Mraz got together, and Mike got the itch to do an original album, and AC/DC formula is amazing. So we just, I sang it like I sing AC/DC. So it's basically like getting a new AC/DC album. It's all originals.
Yeah.
Me and Mike wrote all the songs, and all our guys from Back in Black are playing on it, and it came out really good. A lot of great songs on there. If you like AC/DC, you can get the album. You can go to, let me think. Mike always does this announcement. If you go to our Facebook page, Back in Black Info, also our website, backinblack.info. I think even Stripwired has a page. You can look it up. I'm sure you can get the album or CD on that. And the album's cool. It's a blue album.
I got an
Don't you sell it at your shows too?
And we sell it, yeah. We also sell it at our shows and stuff like that. So if you guys want to hear a really good album, hook yourself up with the Stripwired album too. And check out the Manic stuff too. We're not going anywhere with it, but it was fun. It was fun to do.
Because Darren won't relapse. That's why we can't do another album.
Darren's too busy to do anything else. You've been trying to get me in a Dio tribute for a long time.
Okay,
now.
again, that was Darren's idea, okay? Darren said, Chuck, get the band together and then we'll start rehearsing.
I was kidding!
Don't, George Call, you know this too. Don't ever tell me to get the band together. Anyway, going back to the Stripwire thing, I think there was one write-up that you guys got, and I don't know who did it, but they actually said this is the best AC/DC album never written.
Yeah, I remember that. I forgot who wrote that. We got a
badass,
lot of good press on that. We didn't get any negative press on that. And they played it in Europe and stuff like that. So.
Finally tonight, we're going to do our top 5. And what else are we going to do besides top 5 AC/DC albums from all 4 of us? So we'll start with Darren and name your top 5 that you get on a desert island. You can only bring 5 with you. You're never going to get the other ones again.
Let There Be Rock, Power Age, Highway to Hell, Back in Black, of course, and for those about to rock, we salute you.
Right.
Good.
And for me, it's Back in Black because that's what started it for me with AC/DC. So it's AC/DC for those about to rock. I love Flick of the Switch. I'm going to do Highway to Hell and Let There Be Rock.
Okay. I'm going with Power Ridge first. I've always loved that album. Highway to Hell second. Let There Be Rock third. High Voltage fourth. And Back in Black fifth.
There you go.
Wow.
Al, how about you?
I would have to say Highway to Hell, High Voltage, then probably Let There Be Rock, Dirty Deeds, and Power Age.
There we go.
There we go.
A little heavy on the bond there, huh?
I wonder why, Al. I wonder why we're heavy on the bond there.
I like it. All of us said heavy on the bond.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, that sounds like we're about done with Mr. Darren Caperna here. Just backinblack.info, and also look up Godfather TV on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Spread it with your friends.
Please,
get some
we need to
likes,
get our
some
likes
subscriptions.
up, and subscriptions. Yeah.
And also, I think our thing on Instagram is Real Back in Black. I think
Yes, Real Back in Black.
I just I can remember.
Yeah.
Not the
I'm
fake
horrible
one.
with social
Not the
media.
fake one, the real one.
It's called Real Back in Black, so that's just
cool.
what it is on Instagram.
Well, I think for this show, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a final thought with Mr. Al Mead.
My final words for tonight's show are perseverance. Back in Black embodies that word, I think. They stuck to it, never gave up, kept following their dreams, and that's what it's all about. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
It's Chris Brightwell from Damage Inc., Southern California's premier tribute to Metallica. You're watching Godfather TV.
Hi, I'm Dottie. And I'm Julie. And you're watching Godfather TV with Jeff and Chuck.
All right, well, here for Jeff Dennis and Darren Caperna, I'm Chuck Insenius. And
See you guys later.
I'm going to leave with these 4 words. MUIA, we're out. Cut!